I will say another good thing to do is to catch a show on Frenchman Street.
Yep.
And a lot of times you can literally just go into the bar and there's a live show happening. And, you know, it might be a ticketed event, but a lot of times it's not. And you can just experience that. And they got some soul and some blues in their voices.
They sit
down there.
Not sing, they sang.
They sang. When I was there, we were in one of the bars and just kind of ran into this guy, and he was super nice, and then ended up he was the background singer for Luke James.
Oh wow.
Who at the time was like touring, and like they just had like a day off, and so I got to like sing with him.
That's so cool.
Oh my gosh, my whole life was made. That was back when I used to sing, y'all. I don't sing anymore, so don't ask. Don't sing. I mean, I ain't singing, so don't ask, all right?
Hey y'all.
Hey y'all, hey. Welcome to another episode of Travel,
Fly,
Sexy. I'm your co-host, Natasha Wilson, owner of Travel Goddess International.
And I am your co-host, sincerely Jasmine, owner of Boss Babes Love Brunch.
Period. And today, if you know, you need to be in New Orleans.
NOLA.
Okay, so today's episode is dedicated to low-key one of Jasmine and ours favorite cities.
We say that all everywhere, but for real.
No, but this is like that.
We dedicated a whole episode to it, so that
This
shows
is that
the love
This
for
is that
NOLA.
one. I'm very excited about today's episode. So stick around if you want all the tea for your New Orleans experience. But of course, before we jump into it, a little bit of goddess smell from our inbox to yours. Take us away, Jazz.
Back to the mess. So, remember we talked about the raccoon
Ridiculous.
and the baggage claim? Now, it was a case of crabs. Someone, so many questions. But the video ultimately was showcasing a bunch of huge full-body crabs still alive, walking on the baggage claim and off of the baggage claim on the floor, just like a bushel full.
Like, there was a lot of crabs.
Question number one. How can you travel with a bushel of crabs? Nobody never said that. Is that a thing? Because I couldn't get through customs with bacon once.
Right.
And
like,
I'm
did
just
you
wondering
claim?
how you
Did
got
you
the
claim
crabs?
these crabs? I'm confused.
How did the crabs get to where the bags are? Like,
Facts.
and why are they out? How are you traveling with a bushel that is not secure? Like, what is happening?
The fact that you couldn't get through customs with bacon is
They took
hilarious.
my sandwich. I'm like, okay.
But yeah, first of all, let's give it up for the crabs because they looked good. Like,
Yeah,
if
they
they
were
was about
some
to be,
big old
if they were
crabs.
finna go to the broil,
Yeah.
From
Those
the
crabs
airport?
going to be good.
whoever was getting those crabs was supposed to have a feast.
And clearly they was willing to do whatever, because how did you get the crabs? Like, you snuck in crabs? They said, I'm going to just check them. Like, okay.
Secondly, these crabs were moving like they owned this place. Like, I don't know if they may have been scared or what, but like, they were out. Like, they were jumping off the baggage claim thing. And that's not, I'm not a crab, so I don't know, but it looks like a far jump for a crab. And they were doing it so effortlessly. And I was just like, why is there hundreds of crabs on this conveyor belt right now?
Again, don't check bags. Like, I don't need to deal with anything that's coming out of the baggage claim. Nothing. Not a suitcase, not a crab, not a raccoon. I'll just avoid that area in its entirety. Like,
and honestly, like, I truly, before seeing these videos and these instances in Goddess Mail, I never really thought about how baggage claim
work.
how icky it actually is.
What is going on up there? Like, what is going on? Like, between the plane and here, what happened?
Yeah, so like, it's almost like you don't even need to put that luggage in your car or bring it in your house until you wipe it down. Because it's surrounded by all this random
Crabs,
stuff.
raccoons, roaches, I'm sure.
Like, I never thought about that until now. Like, all the more reason to just be team carry on, because this is
rodents. Because if it's crabs, I know it's rats. So
how they go head to head?
I'm going to keep my bag to myself because y'all doing anything up there.
Oh,
and
my
I already don't
gosh.
really trust the airports there. I'm like, what do people be doing? Like, no, y'all just be treating the bags any kind of way. Crabs, raccoons, it's just too much.
Ciao. Throw it all away and just keep your carry-on bag.
Keep your bag, yes.
All right, get some packing cubes and be great because this is not it. Child, but comment below. Let us know what you would do.
Or were you there?
I was about to say, have you had experiences like these where it's like, what the heck is that coming out of the baggage claim? Because I didn't sign up for this. I just want my bag.
Yeah, we're hardly at baggage claim, so let us know what you guys see coming out of there.
Yes. Ew. That's nasty. And keep a Lysol wipe on hand. Wipe your stuff down before you put it in your car or
now
bring it in your house.
Do those like full protecting covers, like that kind of makes sense if you're going to check
This is
it.
too much.
Yeah.
I'm
Now
disgusted.
smelling like old bag.
Yes.
Like I didn't sign up for this.
I'm done. They probably was coming from St. Maarten.
That's where I was coming from.
Who knows? So with that being said, funny enough with St. Maarten. So Jasmine has now been to St. Maarten twice this summer, guys.
Yes.
Remember when we were supposed to go back together and the unfortunate circumstances happened to me where American canceled my flight both days and I said, never mind. So she went again, y'all. And she actually had some good insight that I feel like we should share on the podcast because we might want to notice.
Yeah, we're not gatekeeping information.
Yeah, it's
Especially-
like, it's good and bad, but it's what you need to know.
Especially because I feel like St. Martin's becoming very popular.
Absolutely.
So it's one of the Caribbean islands. It is becoming super popular over this like maybe last 2 years. I feel like it took like a super pivot. So when we were originally supposed to go, that was like a fam trip with travel agents familiarizing yourself with the island and all of its offerings. And then I returned for my birthday because this was already like my destination for my birthday. And yeah, it was a bit different. It was a great trip nonetheless. Great. Both trips were great. But I do think it's insightful because it is becoming very trendy. So just to share some tips if you're traveling to St. Maarten, what to expect and how to plan. So first and foremost would be the resorts. There are not a lot of all-inclusive resorts on the island.
Right.
There are two. There are two all-inclusive.
Not a lot.
There are two all-inclusives, and I believe there is one that offers a meal plan. The 𝗙𝗵𝗏
Like a European
resort,
plan.
and then the Morgan, which is a beautiful resort, with 𝗚_carte. They do not have any sort of meal plan. So if you're going for the aesthetics, I know a lot of people, if you search St. Maarten, you will see the Morgan. Like the Morgan is a top resort on the island, beautiful property, brand new property, gorgeous, but they don't have food.
I mean, they have food, but you gotta pay for
restaurant. I think it's like one restaurant, so I don't even think they offer like food for like lunch, dinner. I mean, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Like you might can just get like dinner there or something like that. So the offerings are very slim when it comes to like the food and beverages. However, it is very close to the airport, and it's very close to the Maho Strip, which has a lot of restaurants, lounges, etc. So then the other two options that are all inclusive are the Sonestas.
Yes.
So you may be familiar with the Sonesta brand. So they have the Sonesta Ocean Point and the Sonesta Maho. Maho Beach, which literally sits on Maho Beach. So that was the one that I booked because I was really hyped to go to Maho Beach and get that plane picture.
And if you don't know what Maho Beach is, that's where you see everybody with the airplanes flying over them, and they're on the beach, and it looks like, oh my gosh, I need to be there.
Exactly.
That's Maho Beach.
Exactly. So that's why I booked that one.
Yes.
But in turn, that is the family-friendly one, whereas the Ocean Point is the adults only. So keep that in mind. And as we know, most adults only do offer a little bit more than those family style resorts. So they do have like room service, a bit more luxe style with like the robes, the slippers, room service. They have two restaurants that are only associated with the adults only, whereas the other restaurants are shared between both of the resorts. So just something to keep in mind depending on your experience. You know, I always talk about how I don't really care about adults only, but this was one of those instances where I'm like, should have went adult only. Could have walked over to the beach. Originally I didn't know they were connected. So I'm like, I could have just easily walked over. But both of those sit on the Maho Strip. So there are a ton of restaurants. So if you do not stay at one of the all-inclusives, you do have a bunch of restaurant options, including like steakhouses and like those fancy dining experiences down to like more local traditional style food, just quick grabs. There was like a hookah lounge, a casino, strip club, like
vibing in St. Martin.
all these vibes in St. Martin, which is a good transition. Just to the last point will be things to do. Like if you are in St. Martin looking for things to do, there's a ton to do. You have the Dutch side versus the French side. The resorts that I just mentioned, they all are on the Dutch side. So that's where a lot of the nightlife and that type of stuff lives on the Dutch side. There's a bunch of nightclubs like Lotus. But if you're looking for more of a relaxing vacation, the French side is a little bit more chill. You can get those boat options. They have this place called 𝗏𝗏𝗃, which is like you can zip line and just kind of chill. When I went, it was not chill. It was a big day party. It just happened to be the last day party of the summer. It was super lit. But if you are looking for a more chill option, they also have chill vibes. So yeah, it's a lot to do in St. Martin. I definitely think you should add it to your list.
Yeah.
But be mindful. Do your research.
Eventually, I will get there.
Yeah,
and then
she'll
we'll
get there.
do a full episode, and we'll do that if American ever stops playing with my face.
I didn't even risk with American this time. I went Delta. I was like, I'm not playing with Americans to St. Martin because that was weird.
I'm still traumatized.
Was so weird.
Still traumatized because it made no sense.
That was so weird.
If y'all didn't want to take out the 5:30 a.m. plane, just say that.
That's what it feels like.
Left and Jasmine was on it.
I'm like, what's happening?
Y'all, make it make sense.
Yeah, that was so strange.
I digress because I did take American when I went to New Orleans and I was fine. So whatever.
They gonna get you there.
So here we are. Now it's time to get into
No Love.
the Know Your Clap.
I love New Orleans music. Like the culture, that bounce. I love me some Big Frida. Like you already know.
So it's time to break it down because y'all know y'all want to be in NOLA. Or if you have already been in NOLA,
going back.
you know you're going back.
For sure.
You know what's up. We here for the vibes and we're going to let y'all know.
Period.
So first things first, let's just get it out of the way here. We just go jump right into it. Bourbon Street versus Frenchman Street. What type of vibes, what type of atmosphere, what you need to do, what you need to avoid.
Yeah.
Now, if I'm honest, I'm a Frenchman Street girl. I have done the Bourbon Street experience. I understand what it's there and why it's there. But Frenchman Street gives me the vibes that I'm looking for. Frenchman Street is more like jazz clubs and blues bars and art and like that type of atmosphere while you're still getting live music and still getting the, NOLA energy. But it's not as like somebody's on the street throwing up there.
Bourbon Street is such a great place, but I will tell you, it stinks. Like it smells like throw up. Like it's because it's so much alcohol. It's like so many people. It's so populated. It's people constantly throwing drinks, throwing stuff. Like so, it's just not the cleanest place to be.
It's a lot.
It is a lot. So again, Frenchman Street is like the toned down adult version of Bourbon Street. But you gotta hit Bourbon Street if you do. It's a must.
100% you do.
Don't just stay there.
Just stay there, please. And also, I'd say don't go there sober. Like,
no.
Maybe a little tipsy, not always blasted, but just maybe a little tip.
Yeah,
So
definitely not sober. You're
gonna
be
another bar.
aggravated.
Yes. You'll stop into another bar, you'll have another drink, and you'll, eventually get up to blasted if that's your thing. But child, don't go there fully sober because that's
not where you start. That's
where you finish.
Where you finish.
Absolutely. That's not where you start. That's
not where you start. Yeah. Bourbon Street, like Tasha says, Frenchman is where you go listen to music, you sit down, you enjoy your drink. Bourbon Street is where you go and you're singing. And you're like, now you're doing karaoke. And now you're doing the most.
You've officially become the entertainment.
You're in there.
Yeah, so I mean, between the two of them, they both are going to give you an authentic New Orleans experience.
For sure.
You should visit both during your time in NOLA.
Walking distance.
They are walking distance, yeah. So that's hilarious, though.
Yeah. New Orleans is something else. Like it really is a heck of a culture.
Yeah, and they I think feel like they know it and I feel like they embrace it.
Yeah.
Like they're all about it. Like, all right, like I'm not gonna do an accent, but they got their accents and they got. I can't. I'm not gonna try.
And the best thing is the food.
Absolutely.
I love the food in New Orleans. Y'all know I'm a foodie.
So let's spend the rest of the episode talking about food because that's about to happen. Because it's so good.
So much to eat. So many things to try, from the gumbo to the beignets to alligator. Like it's so many things that you have to try in New Orleans. Like that are unique to their culture and that they make it a certain way. You gotta get it.
You ain't gonna get it nowhere else.
Yes.
So I'll start. One place that completely blew my mind unexpectedly was 𝗏𝗏's Soul Food, Creole Soul Food. The place is called 𝗏𝗏's, but it's not, but it's spelled like 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 or 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏
or something.
Yeah. So we'll put it in the show notes. But baby,
they food good.
Two things about 𝗏𝗏's. You gonna be full and you gonna be effed up off their drinks. Okay, so 2 F's.
Yeah, they
full and effed up because the food, baby,
so good.
Oh my gosh, it was out of control. And so the reason that I wanted to go there was for the charboiled oysters.
The best in NOLA.
They are literally known as the best charboiled oysters in New Orleans. So that was why I landed there. But then the drinks took me there. Oh, baby. The food, the mustard greens, child.
Oysters, like,
I was like,
those are the best oysters, like, in the world.
No, literally. Like, I'm like, I just want to book a flight tomorrow and go there.
So good.
Like, I have not found them anywhere else like that.
I'm happy you mentioned them because they are like the best in NOLA.
It was insane. And that was also the first time I had mustard greens. Don't judge me. Judge your mama. And this was last year when I went, last November.
But not greens, just mustard greens.
This was the first time I had mustard greens. Yeah. Still, everybody was looking at me like I didn't know what. I was like, "What's mustard greens?" They're like, "What you mean?" I'm like, "What are they? Just tell me."
I'm dead.
So first time, 10 months ago, but fire. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. So 𝗏𝗏's is like my first one here.
My first one would be Murrow's.
Okay.
Black owned. We love the black owned.
Period.
They're in a more residential area. So they're not in like the French Quarter. But their food was really good. I'm trying to think of the owner's name, but I can't. But they're very popular.
Cuisine?
It's a mix. So it's like it has that Southern cuisine, that New Orleans style, but it also has some, soul food classics.
Gotcha.
So it was a nice mix. I think I went for brunch, I'm pretty sure. It had like catfish and grits. Yeah, and it was really good. And we tried a few other things, like really good. And again, those drinks, like and it was a DJ. It was real lit in
That's
there.
what I was about to say. Like the restaurants that we're mentioning is like the food is fabulous too, but the experience in the restaurant will add to your time in New Orleans for sure.
Yeah, it was playing like R&B 90 classics. Like,
we love a good R&B 90s because I don't know what y'all listening to today. I don't know what they're saying. I don't know what they're doing. I don't know the dances. I don't care to know. Knock it off and put the 90s music on, please.
So trend.
Another good restaurant was, oh darn, what the heck was Superior Seafood. This place was great. We went there for brunch and it was fabulous. The atmosphere is beautiful because a lot of those New Orleans places are almost feel like they're in like a greenhouse, and like those open windows and just like the sun's coming through, and it was aesthetically a gorgeous restaurant, and I definitely felt like it was an experience there. Child, that seafood, it says Superior Seafood for a reason. They know how to make some seafood. Okay, them crawfish, baby. I'm gonna say a lot of babies on this episode today.
That food is so good.
because it was so great. The service there was awesome. The location was wonderful. And then again, the ambiance in the restaurant. So if you're looking for a little bit more of an elevated experience in NOLA that you want to maybe do for a special occasion or for just a great brunch day, I think that this would be a wonderful option. Superior Seafood. And the cool thing about Superior Seafood, I won't jump to things to do yet, but the location of it was great because it was like right where the trolley. It was like right near a trolley stop.
Yeah.
So, you know, if you're someone who enjoys just immersing yourself in the culture, then you can totally just take the trolley there. But also you could just follow the trolley route and walk that back to Bourbon Street or to Canal Street. And that walk is very immersive as well. Like you're just in New Orleans.
Yeah.
So we did that and it was cool. And we saw so many sites and monuments that, you know, you probably don't see if you're just kind of Ubering everywhere too. So just kind of keep that in mind as well. Yeah.
That greenhouse style you mentioned, that made me think of a different restaurant. So I'm going to throw in a new one. The Gumbo Shop, which I believe is right off of Bourbon Street. It is that cute, quaint, like greenhouse style. And when we talk classics, like NOLA classics, the gumbo, the jambalaya, like they had like a trio. I remember I got like a trio of like gumbos and like 2 other things. And it was like so good. Like so New
Like,
Orleans.
how is this a
So
thing?
New Orleans. And what I loved about the service, it was kind of like they were trolling us a little bit, but it was such good service. And like every time they came by, they're like, welcome to the gumbo shop. Welcome to the gumbo shop.
Not every time.
Dang near every time. Like welcome to the gumbo shop. Like, and I don't know if that was our waiter trolling us, but again, the food was great.
Like, why though? Like, why you keep walking to me? I've been here.
Yeah.
Okay, Gumbo Shop.
So check out the gumbo shop.
I would say my third one then would be Commander's Palace.
Okay.
So this is Commander's Palace is like, in my opinion, this is an occasion experience. If you're celebrating something, if you're doing something special, because it's a little pricey, but it's one of those things in New Orleans that's a part of its history. So this place has been there for a very, very long time. And a lot of people, famous people and celebrities and so forth, have come to Commander's Palace and enjoyed a dining experience there. So it's your 𝗙𝗽𝗃𝗲, where the waiters are dressed in, you know, the white shirts with black bow ties and like it's a full-blown experience. And the food matches the experience. And the chef comes out and
We love that.
yeah, like, so it's called Commander's Palace. And then it's attached to this gorgeous garden that you can go out afterwards and take great photos and just kind of enjoy, you know, an after dinner cocktail and just
I have to add that to my
Commander's Palace, y'all. Again, I would say go for dinner. It's it's going to cost you a couple of dollars, but the experience is very much worth it. Very much worth it. Yes.
My last one will also be kind of fancy. I cannot think of the hotel this lives inside of, but I'll put it in the notes. But this is like inside of a hotel. There's a couple other restaurants inside of this hotel. But Jack Rose.
Okay. I've heard
which
of
is
this.
a pretty infamous place in NOLA. You've probably seen it like online. They have a very cute aesthetic. They also have a huge painting of Lil Wayne. So that's how I identify it as like this huge portrait of Lil Wayne. But the food was great. The drinks were great. The dessert was great. The service was great. And like, it's a great ambiance. Like the environment was very, like for dinner, it's dim. A very nice place to add on your list. Like if you just want to kind of have a good night and you want to escape from Bourbon Street and the super loud and lively environments. It still gives you, a nice ambiance, but great food, good vibes. Jack Rose.
Yeah, I'm like, I tried to think of a place on Bourbon Street to send y'all. But
she's like, I wasn't really there like that.
I think you go there and you just bar hop and you just enjoy.
You'll have a couple drinks, but you don't really want to sit down and eat on Bourbon. Like, unless, again, you want to get that super local experience, like that gumbo or something, like a quick little pop in. But yeah.
I think we did like one of the because on Bourbon Street there's some random courtyards that are attached to hotels. So I can't remember what it was called, but we stopped in one and we had the alligator, and that was cool.
Oh yeah.
And it felt like, all right, it's on Bourbon Street, but it didn't quite feel like it.
Yeah.
And that was okay. But
yes, and before we
still
move
smell
on,
Bourbon Street,
you have to get fried alligator.
You do.
You have to eat alligator in 𝗚𝗏.
You do.
It sounds crazy.
Does it?
But you have to.
It don't sound that crazy.
You're like, what? Alligator? Is like, if you're going to get alligator and try it in 𝗚𝗏.
Which is actually a terrible segue into things to do. Because one of the things to do is to do the alligator tour.
Yeah.
The alligator boat. Child, that's terrible.
I did it the same day. And
she saw an alligator and she ate it in the same day.
It happens to the best of us males. So the alligator tour is crazy because 𝗚𝗏 has the swamps.
Yeah.
So you are literally getting on this little boat and you're seeing big old gators, like huge alligators, like
big old gators.
Whoa. Like stuff. To me, I'm like, I didn't know this stuff was in the U.S. Like, I'd be thinking we pretty safe here. Like,
not when you go down south.
It's like not too much crazy stuff. I'm like, oh, they was big. They were real big, and I held the little one.
I held the little one, not anyone, no parts
not
of the
big
one.
Cute for the footage, but I'm like, this man's not like this is his job. He do this every day, playing with these alligators. Couldn't be me.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't understand it. I don't know if he and the alligators have a special language that they communicate because I went no part.
Yeah, he goes. I'm like, but yeah, that's definitely a must do. I think because it's like a once in a lifetime experience to actually experience the swamp, and it's a lot of history on the swamps in 𝗚𝗏.
Yeah. I still didn't do it. I signed up for it, but the day I was in. Because I went to 𝗚𝗏 a couple times, but this last time it was a little too chilly, believe it or not. Like it gets cold there, y'all. It was in November and it was cold.
Yeah.
But I was like, yeah, I'm not going out in the water. It's cold.
Yeah.
So
and they have it, you probably wouldn't even saw any during those down seasons because they do have those down seasons where once the chill hits, the alligators like go to like the land or something.
Yeah. So that's still is on my to-do list because I didn't get to do it. What did I do though? A lot of bar hopping.
Yeah, a lot of bars. Like you have to get that full. You have to get the Frenchman and Bourbon Street bar experience. Yes. Like, I mean, I personally never want to go to 𝗚𝗏 for Mardi Gras, but if that's your vibe, go during Mardi Gras, get the full experience. I know, like, I have friends who love 𝗚𝗏 during Mardi Gras, and they go every year. So if that's your vibe, you know, check the calendar, see when, I believe it's in February, but check the calendar and go during then and get the full 𝗚𝗏 experience. Because that makes the bar hopping just much better because it's like you got your beads and everybody's tore up. I mean, they're tore up anyway, and but like everybody's tore up times 10 when it's Mardi Gras.
Guys. You have to do something strange to get the beads.
We know.
Don't just think you're about to get some beads. You got to do something for the beads.
You definitely got to do something for the beads. And I feel like that's kind of part of their culture. Like you might just catch them where they just having a parade. Like, you know, like it's been times where I've been in New Orleans and I'm like, what's going on? They just start breaking out and
the
dance.
Second Street line.
Second
line.
Yeah, exactly. So they have that culture where you can catch a good weekend or a good day and it's like, oh, it's lit.
It's lit, yeah. I will say, when you're in those areas, or even just if you're in New Orleans in general and you pop into a bar, you feel like family. Like everyone 1,000%. Treats you with so much respect, and everyone's so welcoming, and you end up being there for hours because you're like, damn, like I just made a friend, and this is a vibe. So I can definitely attest to that experience. Where I told you earlier, we walked from Superior Seafood back to Canal Street, which was probably, I mean, without stopping, a 20-minute walk. But we stopped. We went into a random local bar, and they were inviting us to a second line. Later on that day, and it was a Sunday, and it was just like
Sundays. That's when it is.
Exactly,
Sundays are the day when the second lines will go out. Yep.
And I was just like, yo, we just met these people, like the bartender, and then the owner of the bar, and I was just like, this is just only in 𝗚𝗏 like this. I mean, there's some other places,
very hospitable. That Southern hospitality is there.
I will say another good thing to do is to catch a show on Frenchman Street. Yep. And a lot of times you can literally just go into the bar and there's a live show happening. And, you know, it might be a ticketed event, but a lot of times it's not. And you can just experience that. And they got some soul and some blues in their voice to sit down there.
Not sing, they sang.
They sang. When I was there, we were in one of the bars and just kind of ran into this guy, and he was super nice, and then ended up he was the background singer for Luke James.
Oh wow.
Who at the time was like touring, and like they just had like a day off, and they were in, so I got to like sing with him.
That's so cool.
Oh my gosh, my whole life was made. That was back when I used to sing, y'all. I don't sing no more, so don't ask.
She be singing.
Don't sing. I mean, I ain't singing, so don't ask. All right.
She be singing.
But that was a cool NOLA experience too. But again, y'all just gotta be outside.
And that's another thing. Outside, there's a bunch of street performers.
Yeah.
So even if you don't catch it on a Sunday where you're seeing like a full blown like parade style, you can just be on Bourbon or Frenchman and just catch live performances, whether it's dances or you'll have like those guys who are playing different things that are designed as drums.
Yeah.
So you really get to immerse yourself in their culture and the beats. It's the beats.
It's the beats.
The beats.
I would say the last thing on the things to do, it's not even necessarily a specific thing, but there's a lot of Black-owned opportunities all across New Orleans. So certainly like look up that list. And I can find one and drop it in the show notes as well, to just patronize, you know, the Black-owned community there. There's a Black-owned art exhibit that is really quite amazing. It had just debuted when I was there in November. And it's kind of like in an outdoor hangar. If you're not familiar with what a hangar is, that's like where they hold aircrafts. And they turned this into an art exhibit that is specifically designed by a Black artist. So very, very cool. But there's a lot of cool stuff like that you can get into.
So much history there. And speaking of Black-owned, I do believe Neo's that you mentioned is Black-owned. And another great Black-owned restaurant is Up and Adam, which we mentioned in an episode previously. But brunch spot, Black-owned. So there's a lot of Black-owned businesses to support in NOLA.
I'm gonna book a flight when this episode's done.
This
is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. It's either we're ready to travel, we're ready to eat, we're ready to drink.
Yeah, because I could book a flight to NOLA and get that gumbo right now.
Yeah, and come back tomorrow morning and I'll be fine. Last but not least, places to stay.
Yes.
So obviously, you know, we talked about it. There's various areas in New Orleans where you can stay. And a lot of people think when they think of NOLA, they think of the French Quarter and they want to be, you know, right in the mix. But, you know, there's also the downtown area, which might maybe save you some coins and also give you some more modern experiences depending on your vibes.
Yep.
So we definitely wanted to make sure that we mentioned a few of those things. When I went, actually, now that I'm thinking about it, both times I stayed like kind of in the downtown space.
Okay,
So
I'm the opposite.
First time I stayed at the 𝗓𝗡𝗏,
Okay.
which was brand new at that time, and I loved it. And they have a fabulous rooftop bar, guys. So even if you're not staying there, go to that rooftop. And then the second time I stayed at the Canopy.
Okay.
Which also was new at the time. So
I
both
cannot
modern.
think of the hotels that I've stayed at, and I've been to New Orleans several times.
Yeah.
But I know I stayed downtown once, and it was nice, walking distance to some things, but we had to like Uber to a good bit of things. But then I've stayed in the French Quarter for the most part. In my more recent travels, where I'm like, I just walk right over.
Yeah,
like I'm
can
literally
just walk.
on Bourbon. Like I walk down and walk, and you're just like on Bourbon.
Yep.
And usually like near those trolleys and stuff. So I'm usually just like, I'd rather be in the mix.
In the mix, exactly. Yeah.
Because I be getting drunk in New Orleans. I don't got time calling the Uber.
Drunk.
Some drinks. What are they called? Firecrackers.
I'm done.
Those, like big drinks that they have. Everybody walking around in New Orleans
I
with.
don't know, because I don't
They
be
tear
drinking.
you up.
It's like, no, I'll be drinking. I'll
What
be
is
drinking.
a bomb? Grenade.
A grenade.
Yeah. Look, I done said everything that blew up except
A
for that.
firecracker,
A bomb. A grenade. Y'all know what I'm talking about. The big, long, slushy joints that get you tore up.
There you go. Okay.
Yeah.
So you be drinking them those.
Yeah.
I gotta have
And
one. I've never had one, guys. So
You got to get a hurricane when you're in New Orleans.
I've had a hurricane.
Yes.
I've done the hurricane. Yes. You know, I had a different life back then.
Yeah, New Orleans is crazy. Like I'm having like PTSD right now. I'm like, they be forcing shots down your throat at night. Like, be careful there.
It's lit, right?
Be prepared.
It's lit. So, like Jess said, be prepared. Go with your friends.
Yes,
have a buddy
be
system.
safe, please.
Make sure that y'all know where everybody is at all times.
Yes.
Because it can get real lit. People can get real lost.
And you're like, we're around the corner. And it's like, yeah, but it's like a flood of people because even if it's not Mardi Gras, though, like New Orleans is lit. Like people are here to drink and have a good time and
people
be outside.
go to New Orleans with that mindset.
Yes.
With the mindset of I'm getting lit. I'm down for whatever.
I'm outside.
And I'm outside.
Yeah.
So
our producer like me.
So keep those things in mind when planning your trip and maybe figure out what your vibe is.
Exactly. How
prior
you want
to
it
going.
To be. Yep.
Yeah,
so then you know where to go, what time to be there.
Yeah, exactly. What else? Anything else on NOLA?
The food.
I know. It, honestly, the food, the drinks. The food, the drinks.
Yeah.
The good hospitality.
The culture is
the
everything.
Culture.
It really is everything. And I think as Black people specifically, it's like, is really something for you to embrace because it's like, this is real Southern culture. Mm-hmm. Like, this is where...
This is the bayou.
Yes, like, this is really, like, that. So it's nice to actually feel in tune with, the culture that, you may... I mean, me personally, I don't always feel in tune with our culture. So I'm like, NOLA makes me feel like, oh, I'm grateful to be a part of this. This is lit.
Yeah, that's facts, though. That's spot on. And I think, we just were saying how, people go to NOLA and they automatically think party. But yes, the history there is rich. Mm-hmm. It's honestly, it adds to the history of our nation and the history of us as a people.
Absolutely.
There's a reason that they have French influences and, the Creole and all of that has deep-rooted history across the pond. So it's not necessarily just the South. And I think that that's what makes NOLA so unique.
Yeah, so special.
So
it is a special.
So special. Oh, now I gotta go look at flights.
Yeah,
we're gonna figure it out.
See y'all soon, NOLA.
Yeah. All right, last but not least, your favorite thing about your time in New Orleans. New Orleans, actually.
New Orleans.
That's how they say it. New Orleans. It's not two words, it's one.
You already know it's the food. The food is so good. And it could be as simple as literally, like, I'm thinking about this red beans and rice dish I had at this, like, small place off of Bourbon. Just a bowl of red beans and rice. So good.
Just a bowl of red beans and rice?
Yeah. They know how to cook. They be cooking. Somebody grandma made this.
Yeah. The food. Like, we'll travel for food. Like,
sure.
It's the food.
Yeah.
It's the culture too. It's definitely the culture and the people.
They go hand in hand.
But they do. Like, I stopped at 𝗚𝗏 chicken and waffles. Not chicken and waffles. 𝗚𝗏 chicken.
Yeah, I've never been there.
Oh my gosh. And they was just in there. They have like a saying and it was just like, 𝗚𝗏. I was just like,
that's so lit.
This is the whole thing. I just stopped in here for chicken. And this is a whole thing. So the people and the vibes match the food and the energy. And that's New Orleans. Yeah. Like, if I had to describe it, it's people, it's vibes, it's food, it's energy.
You have to go.
You have to go.
Even if you went, go again.
Yeah.
It's one of those ones.
We've been
like,
been
this
several
is
times.
a place you go often because you'll get different food. You got alligator, you got oysters, you got this, you got that. It's like a new experience every single time.
Them charbroiled oysters, I'm coming back for you.
The crawfish, like everything is just... So yeah, add it to your travels.
Add it to your travels, please. And then drop the comments. Let us know if you went to any of these places or if you just felt inspired by this episode and now you're in NOLA. Let us know. And of course, if you're ready to book your travels to NOLA or to anywhere across the globe, then you already know Jasmine and I are both a part of Travel Goddess International, which is a full-service travel agency that can assist with bringing your next unforgettable vacation to life.
So if you want to book one of those great New Orleans travel deals, or if you would like to customize a consultation, visit us at travelgoddessintl.com and we got you covered.
Period. And this is a perfect segue into the traveling travel agent, aka our travel deal of the week. All right, this one's cute.
Perfect.
I know I chose it because I knew we were talking about that today. So this is a 4-day, 3-night getaway to Sint Maarten in mid-October. I want to say it's a Sunday to Wednesday, the dates. And with round-trip flights via Spirit Airlines. You already know we love some Spirit. Flying out of Baltimore, Maryland, with layovers that are just under 3 hours. I think they're like 2 hours, 45 minutes. Staying at a 4-star resort, which is the Simpson Bay Resort and Spa. All of that, $550 a person. $550 a person to St. Martin with your stay.
Yeah, no.
Now, the reason that this is wild is because I'm gonna keep it a bean. When we was trying to go to St. Martin earlier this year, the flight was $900.
Yeah, the flight was double that.
The flight was $900.
Yeah.
This is the whole trip.
Yeah.
For $550? Y'all, sleep if you want to. Now, of course,
That's a third of what I paid.
that's insanity.
That's a third of what I
It
paid.
is the whole trip, not just the flight. Child, please. Now, of course, y'all know we do a little bit of everything. So this deal is a part of our premium membership. So you do have to be a premium member to access this travel deal. So this is an exclusive travel deal. But of course, $9 a month, y'all. $9 a month gets you access to clearly saving thousands of dollars.
I'm telling you, that's a third of what I paid. I'm like, do I need to go back?
So it is a third.
That's so good.
Yeah. So we'll drop the link if you'd like to join our premium membership and have access to these incredible travel deals. But if you don't, you also can access our standard travel deals, which are featured on our website as well. But for $550,
Just go.
you better just spend that $9 because this is
worth it.
crazy. If you know anything about St. Martin, you know that's wild.
That is crazy.
That's wild. So yeah. And Jasmine did mention that there was brunch in St. Martin.
We got a little brunch.
So now it's time to get brunchy.
You already know,
Period.
brunch abroad. So this week's brunch abroad, we are heading to the West Coast.
Okay.
So Los Angeles, which I've only been to once, but I went to a lot of brunch places while I was there.
Of course, there's so many.
More Than Waffles.
I've never heard of this.
So it's in LA. Obviously, they make waffles. And it was like a literally like full menu of different waffle options, which we love options. So I definitely think if you're a waffle girl, obviously they have other great brunch items, great brunch cocktails, but the waffles had me sold. I had like this cinnamon apple waffle. It's so good. So extensive menu, great options, and it's in LA. So definitely check them out.
Do you remember what part of LA?
I want to say it was because this was the day when I went to LA. It was around the time that _𝗵𝐶 had passed.
Okay.
So we stayed like in the Slauson area. Well, we didn't stay over there, but we was like
That's where you were visiting.
like while stuff was like checking out all the things that were going up for him.
Yeah.
So it was not too far from that area.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And what was it called again?
More Than Waffles.
More Than
More Than Waffles. We'll put it in the show notes.
Yeah, I
You
was
can
like,
check it out.
I add that to my little LA list. I got a little LA list because I feel like I'm gonna be there. But yeah, if you watch the previous episode, you know our feelings about LA. So we gonna see. Nevertheless, last but not least, question of the day, Jess.
Yes.
All right. So, would you rather a significant flight delay or straight up flight cancellation? The sound effects, the struggle.
That is really tough.
I know. Would you like me to go first?
Please.
Okay. Cancel my flight.
Yeah.
And I'm going to tell you why. Because I value my time. And we talked about this before when JetBlue had made them people wait for 12 hours before they told them that flight was canceled. I feel like that's so egregious. Like, I feel like once we cross over into maybe a 4, possibly 6 hours, honestly. And that's only, 6 is egregious. 4 hours you got out of me is probably the most when I'm like, all right, let me just figure out what I can do to not do this, or what my options are. But yeah, I think I'd rather just cancel it and just let me figure out what's next, because delay.
Yeah.
It's only if the delay is super uncertain. Like, and you can usually tell once it becomes those long hours,
Yeah,
it's not happening. Exactly. Otherwise, like I can manage a delay.
Yeah, significant is such a
Yeah.
Tough term. I'm
Yes,
like,
that's what it
significant.
was specific.
Whew, I'm like, I don't know. Delay is like already like those little 20-40. You like, all right, are we gonna make it? And then God forbid you have a connecting or whatever.
That's where
it gets tricky. I will probably go cancellation just up front. If we can know within like the first hour, that'll give me time to figure it out. If I want to just chalk everything and go home, or if I want to try to figure out an option. But like you said, after 4 hours, it's like, first of all, I'm aggravated. Second of all, it's not much I can do now. So either way, it's the same thing. It's a lose-lose in that case. So I would prefer a cancellation up front.
Yeah. And that happened to me before. Like I was flying out of Philly going to Puerto Vallarta, and the AM flight just... we sat on the plane for an hour before they deplaned us and said, this is not happening. And then all the other flights that day were booked. So they were trying to figure out how to move people and do that.
Yeah.
I went up to the service desk while everybody else was trying to figure out, because I was like, this is not that deep to me, because it was a work trip. So I was just like, I'll catch y'all on the flip side.
Can't make it.
I'm going back home, and that's just that.
Yeah.
Like, because I don't like being inconvenienced. I don't like my time being wasted.
The energy off. It's just like, well,
And that's
maybe
exactly
the
what it
universe is
did.
saying I don't need to go because
That's
now
exactly how I
I'm
felt.
aggravated.
So I was like, maybe I wasn't supposed to be here. So
Yeah.
I'm going home.
Yeah.
Like, and luckily I was in my home airport, because you know me, sometimes I'm out of
Right.
EWR, sometimes I'm
New York,
but
yeah.
I was at home. So yeah, just cancel. I'm out.
Yeah. Well, let us know what you guys think.
What would you guys choose? Would you rather the significant delay, but maybe you'll still make it, or
Straight cancellation.
just cancel it and you'll figure out what your options are on the back end? Drop it in the comments. Share your thoughts.
We would prefer neither, honestly. Let's just get there.
Yeah, like
ideally.
I paid for the vacation.
Obviously, I want to go. I just want to go.
You never know. So let me see. Do we have time for another review
this week?
A review this week. I definitely had this queued up. Okay. And then,
Why you do that?
yeah, the app does what it does, and then it's gone. So I'm getting there.
While she does that, we appreciate the reviews. So we have added this review spotlight. So if you can continue to contribute to it, we will continue to read them. So leave us reviews. They help us.
And that's on period. All right. So I got it. I got one now. So this review is from 𝗵𝗵𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀. These are usernames, guys. And the title says, love, love, love. 3 loves, this duo. The review says, I think this new podcast is a great addition to my listening portfolio. I love both watching and listening to the show. There are so many good gems dropped, and it's so perfect for me as I broaden both my knowledge and style of traveling. It is such an easy and informative listen, being told from a personal perspective. It makes you laugh, nod your head in agreement, and want to travel. It legit feels so attainable, especially since they're girls just like me. I hope this podcast takes off and encourages other like-minded ones to book the trip.
Book that trip.
Book that trip, period.
That was such a great review. I'm about to cry.
You guys are so eloquent. Thank you.
Right, because my reviews be like, dope. So thanks for all of that energy. You value us. It's so nice.
With that said, wrap this up. Jasmine is crazy.
So again, leave us reviews. Be sure to follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and subscribe on YouTube. 𝗏𝗡𝗡𝗀𝗏𝗔.
And of course, if you have a product or service that you'd like to see featured on an upcoming episode of 𝗏𝗡𝗡𝗀𝗏𝗃𝗀, be sure to email us at info@𝗏𝗡𝗡𝗀𝗏𝗃𝗀.com, and we can discuss what your options are.
Yes.
Wow. What else we got? I think that's it for today.
Time to plan a trip to NOLA.
Time to go to NOLA and stuff our faces.
Yes.
That's it.
We'll see y'all there.
Sleep, drink, and be merry. We'll catch you at NOLA.
See y'all there.
Until next time, guys. Bye.